hit that thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, help us get the 6K subs, and let's dive into it. Henry Ruggs may not have been a player you expected to see on this list, but I think there are more than just a couple of reasons to be excited about him going into year 2. Ruggs is being drafted as the wide receiver 56 on Underdog Fantasy, which means we're hardly committing much draft capital to begin with. But it's what he can bring to the table as a sophomore receiver that gets my attention. Ruggs put on 13 pounds in the offseason, which he doesn't believe will affect his speed. He said it was mostly to improve as a blocker, but I don't think putting on some LBs is going to hurt him becoming a more physical receiver in contested balls. He already created good enough separation as a rookie, led all first-year receivers in yards per reception, and should absolutely be used a lot more in 2021. Look at it this way. The Raiders drafted Ruggs 12th overall, ahead of Jerry Jeudy, CeeDee Lamb, and Justin Jefferson. Crazy, I know. But still, as the first receiver off the board just 1 year back, it would be an egregious misuse of first-round draft capital to not expand his role significantly in year 2, even though the Raiders have been known to egregiously misuse draft capital in the first round. And the Raiders' offense isn't bad either. They finished top 10 in scoring last year, while Darren Waller posted the 7th most PPR points of any pass catcher, and the since-departed Nelson Agholor enjoyed his best season as a pro, with 896 yards and 8 touchdowns on 48 receptions. Derek Carr was solid too, with a top 10 adjusted completion percentage and the 6th highest yards per attempt. Still, Ruggs will have to put the pieces together on his own, and hopefully his insane speed and athleticism will be more than enough to get him involved not just as a deep threat, only 3 quarterbacks created more yards on deep balls than Carr last year, by the way, but also as a receiver who can create big yards after the catch on opportunities closer to the line of scrimmage. And John Gruden has already said he wants to get Ruggs involved as a lot more than just a deep threat this season. Ultimately, we're spending a double-digit round pick on the first receiver off the board in 2020. His disappointing 10% target share and 43 targets as a rookie can only improve dramatically this season, and we could see him as the number 2 option behind Waller and ahead of John Brown. What if I told you T. Higgins was 12th in targets in the 9 games he played with Joe Burrow under center last year? Or that he was the wide receiver 20 over that stretch? Yeah, Higgins was crushing his rookie season and was on a 16-game pace of 80 receptions, 1,206 yards, and 8 touchdowns before Burrow went down in Week 11 and was replaced by the likes of Brandon Allen and Ryan Finley, who were both disastrous. Higgins was the one in the games those guys started, and what could have been an insane rookie season ended as an impressive one but left much to be desired. Now Joe Burrow is seemingly healthy, with both him and Higgins entering their second year with some experience under their belts. And while Jamar Chase is an insane talent, we can't ignore that A.J. Green was targeted over 100 times last season and is out of Cincinnati. Actually, Higgins, Green, and Tyler Boyd were pacing season target totals of 117, 124, and 144 respectively before Burrow went down. Burrow is a talented young quarterback who can support more than one strong wide receiver season, as evidenced by last year, and will likely have to throw a lot again this year, with Cincinnati's defense likely being mediocre at best. Burrow averaged more than 40 pass attempts per game through the first 11 weeks, where all 3 of his starting receivers were top 20 in targets, while Higgins earned a target share north of 20%, so you get the point. Oh, and did I mention no receiver saw more deep ball targets than Higgins with Burrow under center, even though he only caught 6 of those 22 looks. There's a ton of room for improvement there, though, even if Jamar Chase has an impressive rookie campaign. Higgins has a 45 ADP on Underdog as the 22nd receiver off the board, and honestly, I'm okay with it. But you can no doubt get him a lot later on other sites where Chase is going a lot earlier than Higgins.
What is going on, everybody? Welcome to the MLB DFS Strategy Show, presented by One Odd Shopper here today. I'm Eric Lindquist, we're going to talk through this 14-gamer. We've got a lot of games to get to. We've got a lot of bad pitching to talk about. But first, the thing I want to talk about is the preseason GOAT himself, the winner of such tournaments, such as, I don't know, everything on DraftKings last night for preseason football. Adam Scherer, you know him better as at Ship My Money DFS. My dude, how does it feel to be dominating people at a sport that isn't MLB DFS?
There's nothing I enjoy more than winning at sports that I have absolutely no idea like what I'm doing. Preseason NFL definitely counts. I told you before the show, I wasn't even paying attention to the game, just happened to look back and saw Ben DiNucci run for 20 yards and knew that was good. So really fun winning at that. I'll throw that up there with League of Legends, and MMA is just really enjoyable wins because I don't know what's going on.
I mean, if everybody in chat could just hit the tilt button, I mean, that's as tilting as it gets. But also, that's the beauty of DFS, and that's the beauty of the tools, the beauty of Matt Kajewski putting together projections that just make life so much easier for everybody involved. Kalen Balazs came in super low owned, and you had quarterbacks, Dobbs. I can't even talk about Dobbs. We're going to probably freak out, but it was a fantastic day for me as well. I cannot complain. A W's a W, and preseason just starting to get going. We'll talk a little bit about some of the fantasy football stuff that we have going here a little bit later, but of course, we're here to talk about MLB DFS. As you're getting in, as people are starting to roll in here now, hit that like button, hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell. All of that goes a long, long way for us. Also, today we're sponsored by Betting You. It's a podcast that Matt Kajewski, I got to do a show yesterday for the Hall of Fame game with him. Super sharp dude. You have no idea how sharp this guy is. You need to be checking out that stuff instantly because all of the college football stuff that he does is just as good as the NFL stuff. He's talking every day with Ben Rasta on the Betting You podcast. Go to Spotify, go to the Apple Podcast Store, check out them right now. Betting You is the name of that. Find out who they have to win the SEC, which MAC teams they're on. If there's lines or things that just look at efficient here, that's going to be here in less than a month. So I'm very excited for college football. I hope you are too. And the NFL, of course, just over a month away here till the regular season, preseason getting going here now. But I'm ready to get talking about baseball. How about you, Adam?
Yeah, let's go.
Let's ride mine.
More so with his strikeout numbers. And so that makes it somewhat appealing, but he's also getting ownership right now with 17% projected ownership on DraftKings, getting the most ownership of anyone in that price range. So that still makes it tough to really love him. He's also someone that I think probably regresses going forward. We've already seen him start to struggle a little bit towards the end of his time in Texas. And then now he's, coming over to Philadelphia. So I think it's an okay spot for him, but I don't love Gibson. I can see getting kind of around the field on him. For Stroman, more expensive at $9K. He's not picking up much ownership, about 1% right now with a 5% chance of being a top 2 pitcher. Nothing really that stands out about him for me. At $9K, it's just really tough to prioritize someone that has struck out 20% of hitters this year. Even though he is good at preventing runs, that just it's really difficult to count on that to translate into a good DFS performance because, even if he gives up 2 or 3 runs here, he typically doesn't strike out enough guys to make it up. So there are enough guys in that $9K price range that I don't really see getting to much Stroman.
He's like a short slate special. Like if you're on a 5 or a 6 gamer and he's going to be a little bit different, a way to possibly just kind of mix it up there. That's one thing. But when you have 28 other starting pitchers or 27 other starting pitchers here in this spot, it's hard to imagine that he's going to put up the kind of score that you need on this slate. He doesn't have the kind of K stuff that some of the other dudes do up and down this entire slate. So I'm there with you. He's just not a guy that I get to very often, especially because you never get any kind of a discount clicking on his name. Sure, good real life pitcher, but only a 20.4% K percentage this season. That's just not going to get it done for DFS purposes. Kyle Gibbs, anything else you wanted to touch on with him as well? I mean, he's limiting barrels in a really meaningful way. 3.5% barrel percentage on the season here. But again, another dude, 20.3% K percentage. I mean, it's basically identical to Marcus Stroman. At least he's cheaper.
Yeah, exactly. But that also comes with more ownership. So it kind of just, to me, I think he's projected to be owned around where he should be. Like if Kyle Gibson at 7,400 weren't getting ownership, I would gladly play a bunch of him. But he's projected to be the 4th highest owned pitcher right now. So I think, getting to him makes sense because he is so cheap, but I don't really see myself just jamming in over the field on Kyle Gibson. like you said, a low strikeout percentage. He's done a good job limiting power this year. 0.083 expected ISO to righties, 128 to lefties. Both of those numbers are really good. But, just not a ton of strikeouts, not a great park to pitch in. The Mets lineup has plenty of good hitters in it, and they do have a 4.8 implied run total as well. So it's not like the Vegas total in this game is low by any means.
All righty. And moving ourselves over to the Mets side here, as I'm looking at the top stack tool, 4.8% top stack potential,